गुड मॉर्निंग जेंटलमैन। बहुत अच्छा टाइम है। आई एम गोइंग टू टॉक टू यू ऑन अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक। आप जानते हो अभी बांग्लादेश में इलेक्शंस हुई हैं एंड आई एम गोइंग टू फोकस ऑन द इलेक्शंस इन बांग्लादेश, whether they really have any value or they have no value at all. Well, gentlemen, Bangladesh was ruled by Sheikh Haseena for a good part of 15 years, but she was overthrown by a combination of circumstances with the help of the United States and the ISI, and she had to flee the country. I've already discussed this point in various other videos, and it's very clear that the Indian intelligence failed to help Sheikh Hasina, who was a pro India leader. So, well, she's in exile in Delhi, and after that, the Americans had parachuted a man called Muhammad Yunus as the prime minister of the caretaker government into Bangladesh, and he went about dismantling everything which Sheikh Hasina had done. He released the banned parties, the Islamic parties which believed in murder and mayhem, who had all the sympathies of Pakistan. He released them, and they came in to force and began to attack the Hindus. Many Hindus were killed, and it's a sad commentary that India was keeping silent all the time under Narendra Modi. Anyway, finally, uh, Sheikh Hasina had to leave the country, and elections have been ordered and they have taken place. Now, these elections, I think, are a farce. They're not really a farce, there's a damn sham, and the shame on the Americans and the so-called champions of democracy to allow this election to take place. Because the main party, the Awami party, has been banned from the election, debarred. I mean, how can you have an election where the major party, that is the Awami League, which was in power for so long, has been debarred from contesting the election? ये सोचने वाली बात है, and ये शो करता है कि ये सारी की सारी election एक fraud. When all the contestants are not allowed to participate in an election, it can only be called farcical or a sham. I think nobody can deny this particular aspect, that this election doesn't pass the test, the acid test, which we call in physics and chemistry, and its results should be rejected. But all the same, elections have taken place, and there's a party which was opposed to Sheikh Hasina all the time, that is the BNP, has now come into power. And is one of overwhelming majority, almost 209 seats out of the 280 odd seats in the Bangladesh parliament. And the son of Begum Zia Khalida, who was prime minister for some time and the rival of Sheikh Hasina, Muhammad Tariq, is likely to take over as the prime minister. He's got a very doubtful past. He was involved in some gun smuggling also in the Bangladesh support of the extremists in Assam, and there were corruption charges against him, and he was in exile for 17 years in London before he has now come back, Of course, maybe with the blessings of the West, I am not very sure about it. But the good part is that the Jamaat, the extremist party, has been defeated. And what has happened is that since the Awami League had not been allowed to contest, all the sports or the voters who would have voted for the Awami League, that is, the Awami League supporters and the Hindus, all voted en masse for the BNP, in the hope that at least the BNP will be able to bring some semblance of order in this republic. Gentlemen, it's a very sad occurrence that such a thing should have happened in erstwhile East Pakistan, because Bangladesh is now, under Muhammad Yunus, was going closer and closer to Pakistan. There's nothing wrong with it, but the fact remains that the Pakistan army has created mayhem in Bangladesh at one stage, and they had carried out massive raids which have been documented by the United Nations, and yet, if the Bengalis choose to forget it, I'm nobody to say, please remember it. You want to forget the fact that the women of Bangladesh, the girls of Bangladesh, were raped and thousands were made pregnant by the Pakistan army? Fair enough. I've got nothing to do with it. I can only comment as a sad commentary on the politics of Bangladesh. So, Before going further, gentlemen, I will request you to please subscribe to my channel, share to my friends, with your friends rather, comment, and come back again and again. As you're aware, I am not a supporter of any political group or political religion. I'm an independent man and like to give my opinion myself. And my opinion of the Bangladesh election is that it has been a farce. It's a simple theory in world history that election is considered to be free and fair when everybody is allowed to contest. And here you debarred the Awami League, which was one of the most important parties in Bangladesh from contesting the election. How can you call the election free and fair? It's not free and fair. It's a rigged election because all the votes which would have gone to the Awami League have now gone to the BNP. We can, however, draw one conclusion with all this, and that is the extremist Islamic Party, with just won about 68 odd seats, has been routed by the people, who are believing in truth and wisdom. Because this party has forgotten all that the Pakistan government did in Bangladesh and is running extremist charter to attack the minorities there. Burn the Hindu temples, churches. Well, if that is something which is acceptable to the West, fair enough. But the point is, India should not have gone and done this. I am really surprised that the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has gone and congratulated the the Prime Minister-elect of Bangladesh, Mr. Tariq. I mean, it's a very silly thing to do. I don't think any other leader in the world has done it. And he's the first man to have congratulated the would-be Prime Minister of Bangladesh, and I had a long talk with him also. I fail to understand what's Mr. Modi up to. I mean, he's breathing fire, brimstone and fire against Rajiv Gandhi in Parliament, Rahul Gandhi in Parliament. It's so very sad. But when it comes to global politics, he's like, what can I say? I don't know what animal to call. Pussycat? I don't know what to say about it. And there was no need for him to have made that overture to the Bangladesh would-be Prime Minister. It's a very sad occurrence that he did. That's what I feel too. India is a very powerful country. There was no need. They should have wait and watch it. What is Mr. Tariq going to do? What is he going to do? Is he going to restore that type of secularism which was already all in vogue during the time of Sheikh Haseena? Is he going to do that? Or he's going to play balls again, play games, make overtures to China? That's one thing. And the Americans who want to keep India out. So, gentlemen, Modi should have realized this particular thing, and it's a sad thing he didn't realize it and went around making these congratulatory letters and telephones and calls and all that. I think something else is wrong with the Indian state. We need a leader like Bismarck, someone who believed in blood and iron and take India forward. That is not happening, unfortunately. Even his conduct of the Indian foreign policy, as far as the Americans is concerned, is pretty weak. That's all I can say at the moment. And you need a more robust policy. And India has to project its power. You have to project your power when nobody bothers about you. Look at the way Donald Trump, went hammer and tongs that Venezuela, even kidnapped the Venezuelan president and took him away. And the allies of Venezuela, that is President Maduro, that is Russia and China, just sitting and licking their chops. They couldn't do a damn thing. Now that's a fact, you can't deny it. And similarly, in Bangladesh, there was every reason for India to intervene. Even when Sheikh Haseena was being removed, she should have been restored back. I'd said it earlier, because what has happened is, almost 2 years have now elapsed. Muhammad Yunus has played hell into the system, and it's very surprising that a man who's a Nobel laureate and almost 84 years old should be having such bigoted thinking, which he did have. And his one-point plan was, of course, to follow what the Americans were saying, dismantle the regime of Begum Hasina. So he did that. Then they called in free elections, the so-called free elections, which are farcical, and the main party, the biggest party there, which probably would have won. Who knows? They would have won again. People may realize that Bangladesh under Yunus was going down the drain. Nothing. Everything was going bad, from bad to worse. And it was Sheikh Haseena who was likely to do something. Well, anyway, the elections are over, and now we'll have to see what happens. I will close now and say goodbye. Take care.